My name is Luke Raymer, and this is the first teaching video, the cell analogy that we're doing for biology class here. So the object of this assignment is to find objects around the house to make a cell and then compare them to something as well. So what I'm going to be doing here is comparing a cell to a kitchen. So I'm going to go about these items that I've chosen, compare it to a kitchen as well. So the first item I have here is a bowl, which is going to act as our cell membrane. Okay, so this is going to be the outer wall of the cell. Normally it's going to be fully enclosed, but for educational purposes and to see what else I place in here, we're going to have it be open. So the first thing I'm going to add in here is going to be the nuclear membrane. Okay, so the nuclear membrane is going to be this little container here. Inside that nuclear membrane is going to be the nucleus. You see that there, little container. It's got some important things in it, which is where the ribosomes are made, etc. It's sitting inside chromatin, okay, which is going to consist of proteins, RNA, DNA, etc. Okay, and so what I'm going to compare that to is the nuclear membrane is going to be like the oven, okay, which is surrounding the nucleus here. The nucleus is going to be the inside of the oven, all right? And then the chromatin is going to be the tray that the things sit on the inside of the oven. So we're going to put that down in here in our cell membrane here. The next thing I'm going to be comparing here is ribosomes, okay? So ribosomes are going to link amino acids together, which is also going to form proteins once those are linked together. So things, when you link something together in a kitchen, I imagine a whisk, right? So it's going to go in, you're going to mix up your batter, your eggs, your butter, all this to mix it together to form something different. So we're going to take this here, place it right in there next to our nuclear membrane. The next thing I'm going to talk about here is the mitochondrion, okay? So that's going to be, as everybody knows, the powerhouse of the cell or what's going to produce energy in a cell. So what I grabbed here is ibuprofen because sometimes throughout the day, ibuprofen is what we need to produce some energy. So I'm going to place that in there. What I'm going to compare that to in here is like electricity in a house that you're going to need that is just going to power everything in the kitchen, your oven, your stove, everything else you need in a kitchen is going to be powered by electricity. So that's what I'm going to compare that to. The next thing we're going to be talking about here is the microtubules, which are essentially components of the cell skeleton, which is also going to help in the structure of the cell as well. So besides the cell membrane, it's going to help in the structure of the cell. So the thing I grabbed does not make quite as much sense, but to be honest, the reason I picked it is because it sits in here and it bounces right there between the two walls to help in the skeleton. Okay, so what I'm comparing that to is really the walls that the kitchen sits in. You know what I mean? It's going to help in the structure of the kitchen, or you could even compare it to the structure of the kitchen, meaning where the cabinets are placed and according to the sink and then according to the stove, where those are placed amongst each other. So the next thing I'm going to go to here is the Golgi apparatus. Now this one is probably my oddest comparison, but bear with me, okay? So this is, the Golgi apparatus is going to prepare proteins for use in other places, all right, inside or outside of the cell. So what I'm going to compare that to here is the Scrub Daddy or a sponge, because say you're using a knife or something like that and you cut up some chicken, but you need to cut some lettuce. Well, you're going to use this to clean it off to prepare it for use in another place. Okay, so that's what we're going to compare this to. We're going to set that right down in there as well. The next thing I'm going to compare here is lysosomes. Okay, so they're going to break down different components inside of a cell that are meant to be broken down, right? So immediately my mind goes to a dishwasher because it cleans things to break down the dirt, the grime, whatever that's meant to be broken down. Well, what breaks down the things in the dishwasher but a pod here, one of our cleaning pods, right? So I'm going to place that in here because that's what the lysosomes are going to be referred to, all right? And so finally, the last thing I'm going to compare everything to is cytoplasm, all right? So cytoplasm is what's inside of the cell. It's what a cell is filled with, essentially. And so it's made of water, salts, and other organic materials here. So in comparison to all this, it's what's inside a cell. What better to do than just take some water in here, fill it all up. Now, ironic that these couple of these things float. That shouldn't be floating. But the mitochondrion is actually separate. It's in a separate thing than just, it doesn't have cytoplasm going through it. Same thing with the nuclear membrane. That's why they're separate. So that's why I chose those as well. So that's going to be the finished product here we have for our cell. And I think that's all.